Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fantastic evening here as we get ready to go crazy here at Atlanta Superspeedway on the Road and Plate Racing League here in iRacing. We are going back to the Superspeedways, the plate aspect of Road and Plate, taking a little break from them road courses, get back into the drafting action. We've had an exciting 3 races prior to this. We took a break last week and now we're back week 4 of the Road and Plate Season 2. And things are about to get hinky. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure, if you haven't already, it's a huge help to me, you drop down and you click that subscribe button down below so you can get notified anytime we go live here on the Road and Plate, live series or anything else I might be doing. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure to please click the follow button. And as always, if you like it, click like on the video. If you're watching the VOD back, say hi. If you're here watching live, make sure to jump up in the chat. I like talking to you guys. I actually need to fix that right now. I've got a chat missing. I don't want to miss anybody out here. Let me go pop out my chat real quick while we get ready. I do this all the time. I always do this. I always forget to get my chat out. There it is. Boom. All right, I got you guys there on Twitch, and I've got you in the YouTube chat loud and clear. Who are you guys rooting for this week? It's going to be interesting as always. We're starting with our heat race. It's going to be 25 laps here around Atlanta Superspeedway, the new package, of course, set up on it. And it's going to be really intriguing if you haven't tuned in with us before. As I said, we're on race 4. Race 1 was Talladega, was won by Brandon Brush. Race 2 was Donington Park, was run by Chris Lucky. And our last race 2 weeks ago at Long Beach was won by Dan Ott in an amazing fuel race strategy that ended up costing Sam Stoner the win, who led pretty much every lap right until running out of fuel in the last 3 turns. It was heartbreaking. He's going to be looking to redeem himself here tonight. There's definitely a lot on the line here up front. We can see Justin Wilson, as well as we have Richard Lucky, newcomer into the season so far, Jacob Bradley, Chris Lucky just behind, Steve Loving, Jay Bass, Nick Seraph, Michael Gudger, Sam Stoner, and Kenny Troughton rounding out your top 10. We're about to drop the green here in Atlanta with 25 to go. And keep in mind, this is only the heat race to set things up. If you haven't, so far, you haven't tuned in any of these races, there is an interesting way things are done here, and it is pretty simple. Basically, these heat races set up for the feature by giving people points, and then they invert the top 10 for the feature itself. So this heat race sets the stage for where they will start in the feature, but the top 10 will invert, which makes things very, very interesting. It completely changes the dynamic. You see people who are really strong end up getting more of a bit of trouble. You see the people who are really good end up pushing and forcing their way through the front. You can see that line right there, Jacob Bradley trying to push on Justin Wilson right there. And right on that outside line, we've already got him here, Richard Lucky, getting pushed by Chris Lucky just behind him. And just behind them, Mike Gudger. He's also here. Steve Loving and Jay Bast on that inside line as well. We've seen those off the wall guys. They're sitting there right behind the payday guys as always, trying to move their way around things. These teams are always real tight when it comes to plate racing. It's always interesting to see what they're going to play off. Obviously, this is just a pretty much gun and go. You shouldn't probably be expecting any kind of fuel strategy or tire strategy or pit strategy just yet. We are not quite there, so this is going to be a lot more of just straight action. Going to see how long we can keep this thing green, of course. With plate tracks, anything can happen. People get squirrely, things get a little out of line. These guys are racing. Some of these guys are unfamiliar with each other. They're trying to get stuff figured out. Anything can happen, and that's what's exciting about watching it. And look at that, just like that, we're seeing more and more push. Not a lot really shaken up just yet. Pretty much everybody's gonna be about where they were starting things out. I see Dustin Bolly's up 4 positions, Benson Weaver as well. in the back there. Right now, we're basically looking at Richard Lucky on that outside line and Justin Wilson just jockeying for this first place position. But you can imagine it'll stay like this for a little while until somebody shakes out. Oh, as you can see, Jay Bass, it could have ended up going 3 wide there for a second if there was a little bit more of a draft off of him from behind there, where it looked like Nick Seraph was kind of eyeing him, but obviously didn't. Oh, we're 3 wide anyway. Look right there in the middle. This is where we're going to want to keep our eyes right here. Dustin Bally is sent it up the middle. He is right behind the 5 car. That's Robert Brobst. And they are trying to make some action happen, but it is already getting dangerous. It is getting freaky out here. Robert kind of all over in that middle. Look, oh, 6-5, Sam Stoner. Oh, he's rubbed into the wall, and there they go. Oh, calamity. That's going to be a yellow. And that is exactly what I was talking about. You saw me drop them cameras there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was bound to happen. Why don't we go take a look back? We knew exactly where it was. Take a look back at Robert Brobst. See how exactly we got here. As you can see, he gets real tight, ends up pushing. Sam Stoner comes down, but Robert just runs him up into the wall. I guess he thought he was clear. I don't know what happened there. Gets turned right across, and that little tail ends up hitting the back, catching the one of Benson Weaver. And I do want to see, I think Chris Winslow, it might have been, going, no, it's Tom Wendt, it looks like. Just look at the, oh. And narrowly being avoided by a number of guys. These guys are jumping to pits, getting themselves their fast repair and hopping back out with 18 to go. Wow. Well, that was something. Already we're sitting here looking, and now as it is, generally during heat races, especially on these plate tracks, I tend to, not to want to pull anybody in during heat races, during the yellows, unless they are in the pits for a lot longer than just their initial stop. So probably, we're just going to kind of sit here and talk a little bit about what we're looking at so far. Up in the front, we still got, it's Richard Lucky and Justin Wilson. Richard Lucky just out ahead of the 85, showing up as the 58 on here. And Chris Lucky, Jacob Bradley, and Michael Gudger, that's rounding out your top 5. Michael Gudger up 3 positions, doing pretty well. Dustin Bally, another one who sent it pretty wide there, going 3 wide. And somehow managed to get himself up 9 positions into 12th currently. Huge moves by him, managing to avoid all of that, avoid catastrophe. He was right there. It could have been bad. He managed to get around it. Just ahead of him, don't want to leave anybody out. The 41 of Brandon Brush. Brandon Brush, as we said, is no stranger to being very good here on these plate tracks. He was the winner at Talladega in race 1 of this season. He is up 5 positions, currently in 11th, just outside the top 10, trying to get his way in. Remember, it's not a bad idea to finish towards the back of the top 10. You end up starting at the front for the feature. Obviously, though, points are on the line here. Nobody's going to be giving up anything. This isn't an opportunity where you hang back. You don't want to do that on a plate anyway. You'll get completely left behind. There's no manipulating anything of the sort here. But instead, what you can end up seeing is these guys. I'm trying to find a way to put this. You're going to see them fight to get into every position they can, but especially if they're just outside the top 10. If they're sitting there at 11th, at 12th, getting to that 10th or 9th spot can be huge for the feature when the field inverts and they get sent right to the front. For the opportunity to start the race, and that can be a huge opportunity. We're about to come back from ad break on Twitch, and we are still getting ready to go here after that initial caution. Still yellow here at the Road and Plate League. Should be going green this time by, if I heard correctly. Now let's see if any of these cameras are nice and wide. Doesn't really look like it. That's a little unfortunate for the cameras to not be super wide on these tracks like this. This is where you want to catch as much of the action as possible. And there's just, there's not a lot to work with these default iRacing cameras, and I'm not super, super built for making them myself. But the pace car has dived off, and we're about to go green here. As Richard Lucky, gonna go ahead and hit the start, gets a big jump. And he's gonna get out to a bit of a lead there. Chris Lucky trying to fill in quick behind. Justin Wilson and Jacob Bradley are already linked up here, making a big push. Michael Gudger, Steve Loving jumps in front. And Michael Gudger wants none of it, he had a run. And Michael Gudger is gonna go to that inside line, but the 27 is gonna go to the outside. You got Kenny Troughton, Nick Seraph, Jay Bast, all crouching up. And some big plays here, big moves, jumping around already. It's gonna be interesting to see which line these guys end up choosing, which ones they end up seeing that they think ends up feeling a lot more secure, a lot better for their chances. It'll be very exciting to see. I've just gotten word I have an incorrect description here. I'm gonna go fix that while we sit here and take a moment. And this will be a good opportunity to listen to them engines roar as we hit to crank it up. Looks like everything looks a lot better now. Thanks for that note. Did not realize we were streaming in the wrong category over there. Man, I heard some interesting stuff while we were setting up there. I heard a couple of interesting sounds. We've already had our caution here. I'm trying to look through our list here. I see it's Chris Winslow. Chris Winslow is where this is at. Let's head back and take a look here. Apparently, it happened before. That's okay. We missed it a little bit. I was wondering why it sounded like people got quiet. We missed it for a second there. We're not going to miss it now. Catch it all on replay. Oh, Dustin Bawley got dumped. Robert Brobst involved in something again there. Dustin looks like he does okay. He's able to spin out of it, but it ends up being a problem for these other guys. Chris Winslow. Want to see exactly where he got. It looks like he catches a little bit of damage here. Trying to get up out of the way. I'm actually not sure where he got the damage. It shows one moment and it doesn't. Nasty one. Dustin Bawley's peeling off pit road now. Hits that fast repair. Chris Winslow. Unsure here. Gonna have to see Tom Wentz back out on track. But that is the second caution here with 9 to go in the heat race. Can't look away for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Can't fix nothing. The moment you do, something big happens. I was wondering why everybody looked like they were going so slow. I didn't see the caution banner. It does look like Chris Winslow is held a little bit here. Try to see if we can catch him on a scanner. I'm not sure I can see him in radio comms right now. He might be out. As I said, generally during the feature, we'll have a lot more laps to work with. A lot more cautions will probably come out, give people more of an opportunity to pull them in and chat with them during these cautions. But as the heat is so important in this aspect, guys are just trying to get out there and get back out on track. You know, trying to set themselves up for this next position. Don't want to interfere just yet, getting their mojo. Looking for you guys out here. Who you cheering for? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, how does the broadcast itself look? Did some graphical tweaks, some overlay settings, some changes. Try to make things look a little more realistic. I think it pops a lot better this week. What do you guys think? Think so too? I hope you do. We're about to go green again as we get ready for Richard Lucky to take us off one last time here, presumably. And we're off here with the green flag. Richard Lucky once again pulling way out. Chris Lucky jumping right in behind. Michael Gudger finding himself all the way up at the front here. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of move he tries to take, as well as Steve Loving there in the Windows machine, the 27, right, going side by side with Michael Gudger right now. Looking at the 67 of Nick Seraph. I've never seen him without 3 numbers. This is an interesting look for him. As he is falling in line, he has moved himself back up into here. Still fighting in a good spot in contention here in the top 10. Jay Bass just behind him. Kenny Troughton on the outside line in that 25 machine. And at this time, we're going to see a number of cars try to find their places. We see the second lines trying to form up. Johnny Rapp trying to get the support of the 7 of Evan Hoopchak. Get moving up. We can see the 5, Robert Brobst, just behind Sam Stoner in the 65. Sam, of course, coming off that heartbreaking loss in the final corners of the race last week at Long Beach. Definitely looking to make it up to himself here. Try to get himself that win. And keep an eye out here, ladies and gentlemen, as we come here with 4 to go, crossing the line. Many things can happen. I mean, we've already seen it. The moment these things go 3 wide, as they have back here with Sam Stoner. Oh, and the 346 of Chuck Labano. Looks like they're going to settle back into 2 lines. That got even a little too dicey for these guys. But as we get closer to these final laps, as I said, this is all for the oh-so-important points and for the positioning in the feature. We're going to see some guys probably take chances. Strap in. I hope everybody in their cars is buckled up. Oh! The 29! With a recovery, Dan Ott manages to keep moving. This back row has just lost a lot of momentum trying to avoid that. We're jumping around a lot. There's so much going on. We're 3 wide here. Johnny Rapp. Sam Stoner See Mark Royce there in the 44. They're settling back in. We've got 2 to go. And you can see this hookup back here. Chuck Labano, Dustin Bawley, Sean Johnson linking up in a 3 push, trying to get back to that main line. They do not want to be this far back. We are at the white flag, ladies and gentlemen. 1 to go. Here at Atlanta in the heat race. We are not done after this. Stick around. The actual feature is coming up just after this. Things are gonna get dicey here. It's gonna be interesting to see who tries to make moves. Jay Bast looking to the middle, but he's gonna stay there. And Richard Lucky's looking to take it, and it looks like he does. I'm seeing Richard Lucky takes the heat race, followed by Justin Wilson, Chris Lucky. We're gonna pull up those results real quick. I was getting so excited looking at them. There we go. Richard Lucky takes the heat. Justin Wilson, Chris Lucky, Jacob Bradley, Steve Loving, Michael Gudger, Nick Seraph, Kenny Troughton, Jay Bass, Brandon Brush. That's your top 10, and those are the guys that are about to invert. The field putting Brandon Brush right up at the front, somewhere he's pretty comfortable at. This is definitely going to be very, very interesting. What we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and see if we can talk to a couple of our people here. Let's see if I can get someone on radio. All right, ladies and gentlemen, standing here at the pit retainer wall, talking with Chris Lucky. The 77 came in 3rd here in the heat race. Chris, how'd that go for you?
Just got to the bottom there, rode around, pushed my brother for the entire race. That's all there is to it on these restrictor plates. You're just in the lane that you're in.
Well, I mean, it definitely was a lot of the same faces, a lot of the same names. You, Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley, and your brother Richard there, all up at the front. You know, not really changing a whole lot, but a lot was happening behind you. Was there any worries that somebody was going to try to throw a move on you guys in that last lap?
No, if they were going to do it, they were going to have to do it up top. That we weren't going to give them any line down low, and we had already talked we were going to stay on the bottom for the last lap so we could use the apron, and it just kind of worked out for us.
Awesome. Well, I can see we do have Richard over here if he is.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, hey, welcome back. Just wanted to talk to both of you guys. Like I said, you almost were 1-2 there, but Justin Wilson edges you out. 1-3 still ain't bad. Taking home this heat win. How's that feel?
That feels pretty good. I was lucky to finish it. I was having a little controller issue. It kept coming unplugged, and then it was causing my computer to really glitch. So I was just trying to hold it on the bottom, but this is my first race for this league. Everybody looked pretty clean up front, so hopefully we can repeat this in the feature race.
Absolutely. Well, I do got to say, obviously, with the inversion of the field, that should be sending you back to 10th at this point. How do you feel trying to work your way up back to that front from 10th as opposed to where you started initially?
Yeah, it's going to be hard because it's just 2 rows, it looks like. It's going to be hard to try to make something happen, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not just going to ride in line. I might have to create that 3rd lane if I can, but looks like we got 20 seconds to grid, so hopefully
Absolutely.
I'll talk to you a little bit later.
All right. Good luck, guys.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
That was Chris Lucky and Richard Lucky there. And then I'm going to try to radio up Brandon Brush real quick. He's about to start. See if I can get Brandon on the comms real quick before as he starts to drive off the grid. Just grab him for a second. Brandon, right in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man. Just wanted to touch base with you here. You're obviously starting now on the pole for this feature race. As we know, you did win Talladega, the first race of the season, the only other plate race. How are you feeling heading into this right now?
I feel pretty good. I don't know. This is my first time racing Atlanta. I know it drives a little bit different, so it seems like it's harder to pass because you can't go 3 wide. So I feel good being in front. I do know we have to pit for gas, so that will probably change it up a bit. But hopefully we stay up front.
Awesome. And obviously, you know, there's going to be a lot going on. Do you think you have the support behind you to keep you up there? So far, the guys sitting behind you currently.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I want Jay to be behind me, but
oh yeah,
start next to me. So.
All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go so you can get ready, and I'll talk to you in a minute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Brandon Brush, the man sitting on the pole currently, and the winner of Talladega this season. As I said, things are looking good for him. But you cannot rule anybody out here. It is Superspeedway racing. We're about to see how this thing flies. About to go green here in the feature race at Atlanta. And here we go. Look at this already. Brandon Brush looking up. He said he wanted to get in front of Jay Bast, and that's exactly what he does. He's going to choose that outside line. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I thought I saw something back there. Something has already happened as soon as they let off. What was that? Goodness gracious, what happened? What did I miss? I didn't even get a chance to settle in, guys. What are you doing? Oh, man. Let's take a look here. We got to head to Dan Ott's point of view. Try to see if we can get an overhead chopper view. Try to catch as much of this as possible. And we're taking a look as everything... Oh, Robert Brobst kind of checks everyone up. And that just does a number on this restart. But I'm going to have to jump around the field because I saw a number of names involved in this. I want to see exactly where this came from. It was a little bit further up. Oh man, the 51, Richard Lucky, your heat winner, gets sent around. There is no good overhead view here. What are we doing? Let's see if I can just get a TV cam to look at this thing. Let's try again. I know people all the time talk about these iRacing cams, but ladies and gentlemen, they are not good. Yeah, it just completely sent around Jacob Bradley. Catches Robert Brobst. Catches Sam Stoner. And that's going to be an early fast repair. Wow. 28 and the 45 just getting out of the way of that. Tough break. Tough start for these guys. Sam Stoner coming off pit road, as is Lord Wiseman. Richard Lucky looked like he was getting tires. I don't know if he meant to do that. Not on the first lap. That's unfortunate. Probably didn't have them unchecked. Happened to me before. I can't say anything. Dan Ott, Sean Johnson all pouring off. Brandon Brush, Jay Bass still up front. As this is an opportunity for everybody to pretty much use a fast repair, we're just going to kind of sit on this one and not try to pull anybody in. Obviously, a wreck on lap 1 of the feature is kind of unexpected. It even caught me off guard there. But, I mean, a number of things happened there. We saw Robert Brobst kind of check up the field, and we just saw bonk, 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 bonk all the way back his line. But at the end of the day, somewhere along the lines, it's just something got a little dicey, and Jacob Bradley ended up hooking the 51. of Richard Lucky, the winner of the heat race just before this feature. That is going to change some things. And of course, that puts him at a huge disadvantage at this point. Whereas before, you know, he was starting inside the top 10, he was kind of sitting there, now he's all the way back in 22nd. And that is a lot of movement, a lot of maneuvering, and a lot of avoidance you have to do from back there with these guys. But I mean, that's the nature of plate racing. Sometimes these things just kind of happen. I mean, no insinuation in any way that was some intentional hook. Just again, it's more of an unfortunate circumstance. Man, listen to them engine sounds. Whew! Those are pretty cool. We should be getting ready to go green this time by. Pace car will pull off. We are only on lap 4. We come to lap 5 at the line of 50 laps here at Atlanta in the feature race for the Road and Plate Week 4 plate race. This is just the second plate race of the season. Current leader, Brandon Brush, winner of the first plate race, Talladega. The man in second, Jay Bass, finished second last week at Long Beach. Let's see if he can do better or even repeat that success here on a different kind of track. Pace car has dove off. And there they go, launching. Green flag is in the air. We are back in the feature race. Brandon once again jumping up in front of Jay Bast. As he said, that is his preferred location. He wants to be where Jay can push him. They seem to have a pretty tight coordination there. Michael Guthrie's going to jump right up behind them. Say thank you, I'll take a piece of that as well. Keep him up there in the front. That means Kenny Troughton in the 25 is going to be down there on the bottom. 67 of Nick Serif's going to be in support. But it looks like that support is a little weird there. Jacob Bradley moving up close, choosing that outside line as well. Steve Loving not exactly committed to the rear of the 67. And that's because he's jumping up as well. He sees momentum. He sees a move happening here. He's going to jump up in front of the 58 there. That's actually the 58-85 Justin Wilson. And a 3 wide attempt there by Justin Wilson. Looked like he got knocked around a little bit. Dustin Bally pushing Johnny Rapp there. And Dustin getting a push from the 5 of Robert Brobst. Once again, 3 wide here. Justin Wilson on the inside, just the inside of his affiliated teammate there. He seems pretty comfortable where he's at. A drop down, that lane's gonna take him. They're gonna leave Steve Loving out to hang. Oh, the 67. Nick Serif trying something big there. He's going to form the inside line now, sending Kenny Troughton up to the middle. Michael Gudry's on the outside. With Jacob Bradley and Brandon Brush and Jay Bast are running away a little bit. They're just finding any line they can. They've got some daylight ahead. Oh, this is real tight. Oh, we're 3 wide up here at the front. Oh, there's the tap. Jay Bast, hang on to it. I think we've gone 4 wide a couple of times, but I can't quite tell. This is getting intense, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like guys are feeling a little worse for wear from it. Justin Wilson sliding his way all up into 3rd off of that incredible move. Steve Loving backing the right horse. Now trying to nudge his way around as well. And those guys are looking to try to settle out, but they're still 3 wide just behind them. Dustin Bally now trying his luck. Oh! Kenny Troughton doors Jacob Bradley a little bit there. It's just very, very tight. It's really hard to figure out where to keep the camera trained to. God, I mean, that's a positive complaint. These guys are giving us a lot to look at. And it looks like Kenny Troughton will file in. They're going to go 1 by 1 here. Or 2 by 2 rather. I don't know what I'm talking about. 2 by 2. heading back into a line here, not letting that 3 wide shenanigans continue for much longer. Boy, if I had a heart rate monitors tied to me here, that would have been high. Whew, that was intense. Never mind, we're going back. Well, of course we are. That was my bad. 3 wide once again. Steve Loving now gets out in front of Justin Wilson. The 77, Chris Lucky, finds his way back up to the front. Affiliated teammate of Steve Loving back there. Oh, Dustin Bally pushing Chris Lucky. The 50 of Jacob Bradley and that 85, 58, whatever he wants to be of Justin Wilson. That's a strong combo. Michael Gudger, no slouch. He's going to do an incredible job of pushing, taking advantage of what he can. He has gotten himself into some incredible positioning so far. And look, we have a jockey down. The 44 there, Mark Royce. Up 7 positions so far, as is Justin Wilson, I must say. Oh, I gotta take a breather, guys. Whew. It is beyond impressive how they managed to stay that competitive and that hard against each other, pushing as long as they did. Some big shakeups happened out of that. Oh, we had a little bit of a wall drag back there. Robert Probst, Johnny Rapp falling back. Robert Probst, Nick Seraph, all pretty far back here. They're gonna need to collect themselves, get back into a draft here. Jay Bass shuffled all the way to the back off of the way that 3 wide split happened, puts him in 15th. As I said, Mark Royce up 8 positions so far. Chuck Labano gets himself into the top 10. That 346 machine, he's up 9 positions. Dan Ott just outside the top 10. That 29 up 10 positions so far. Huge moves happening. We're gonna try to stay where the action is here on this tight pack up at the front. Try to keep an eye out to see if we miss anything in the back here. Don't want to miss a thing. Justin Wilson still firmly out in front, but Steve Loving still challenging. He's not giving him anything. It's still a fight. Just the strong push of that outside line. The inside line is still pretty well formed though. 77 of Chris Lucky and the 44 of Mark Royce doing their fair share to keep it going. Michael Gudger, right place, right time, right moves. That 64 machine on the outside. Just behind him, 41, Brandon Brush. Cycled back a little bit, but still in good positioning. Let's see what Exciting Cam has in store for us for a moment. I just want to see where it takes us. Hear that, Kenny Trouton? It's taken us to you. They've iRacing Exciting Cam thinks Kenny Trouton is the exciting man of the day so far. Now Chuck Labano. We are coming up here on 30 to go at Atlanta, our second plate race of the season. But we are in week 4 of season 2, the Road and Plate series here on iRacing, on the Humanoid Rogue YouTube and Twitch channels. Oh, whoa! Benson Weaver gets himself way up out of the way. It's all right. He was just a lap car trying to get himself up and out. Drags the wall, does the best he can. He was just in a weird situation. Gotta applaud that. You always worry, though. You don't want to end up getting pushed too hard into that wall. It might seem like a good idea to push yourself up there, but I mean, if you pop back down, you do a wall pop off that thing, you're going to end up taking a lot of that field width. So good handling, good way to hold himself up to the top there. Could have went a lot could have went wrong there. Gonna take a little breather as things kind of settle in, regain myself. Come in at about the halfway point in 3 laps. See where we're at. Just enjoy the sounds of these cars racing. We are at the halfway point as we ride along with Dustin Bally, currently sitting in 9th place. Just to get a feel for what these drivers are currently seeing. And it looks like most of the racers here have settled into a pretty natural groove. Found some people to work with. There are going to be some moves here and there that we're going to see made. I'm sure we're going to see some 3-wide action come sooner or later. As somebody tries to get a run. Oh! Right in the back, right in the back! 346, Chuck Labano around! And he takes Richard Lucky with him. And that is going to be our second caution. We're going to have to see what happened there. How did Chuck Labano get turned around there? See if we can get a better view. Getting into a bit of a slowdown. He ends up a bit high. Sean Johnson edges through the middle. And he comes down, gets bumped back up, sends him through. And the 51, nowhere to go whatsoever. Jay Bass gets collected in that. Laura Wiseman collected. Sean Johnson gets a lot more of it than I thought. Jay Bass looks like he just avoids most of it. Doesn't look like he had too much damage. Let's see if we can be on board real quick with Sean Johnson. Give you a better idea of what these guys see in these kind of scenarios. Just a tap. That was enough. We'll do the same thing, Chuck Labano. Head on board with Jay Bast as well. Nowhere you can really go, as you can see in that scenario. One more perspective. Want to take it Laura Wiseman. Where she ended up. How she ended up seeing this. Just way too high up as it was. Tried to see if she could go a little high, but it was all the way up there. Nowhere low to go. That's all it takes, guys. That is all it takes. Richard Lucky is going to have to sit on pit road for a minute. Looks like he's going to take basically just the optional repairs needed, and he's going to peel back out. Get himself back out on that track. Currently seeing Benson Weaver down a lap. Sam Stoner down 18 laps? Huh. He's gonna peel down pit road now. See if we can talk to Sam, I guess. Go ahead and pull him in here real quick because he heads down pit road. See if we can chat with Sam Stoner. Sam, right in the broadcast, you got me?
Hey.
Hey, man. Well, obviously, we had a little bit of heartbreak last week. We were talking about it, rooting to see what she'd do this week. So far, things aren't looking too good.
It is not gone well. We got 8 minutes damage left. I'm just sort of taking one of these yellows. I'm thinking here on this green flag, I'm just going to see how she runs. It's not looking like I'm going to be keeping up with anybody, so probably going to be hitting the pits and taking her home.
That's a shame. Well, I mean, you were doing pretty good. You were holding yourself up there, fighting in and around the top 10. I mean, ultimately, that I imagine it was that which wreck here was the one that did you in so bad?
I turned myself across the one car's nose.
Man.
Just got a little excited, you know. This track's super tight. It's super fast. You get these really huge runs that you can turn into something like that. But, you know, if you get in any kind of weird situations, then next thing you know, you're in the wall.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully you can get out there, turn some laps, maybe keep some points, and, you know, we'll see if you can do better next week.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Stoner, the 65 car. As we head back, we've just gone green once again, and things have changed. Mark Royce, the 44, is up in the front. Justin Wilson settling in behind. Steve Loving gonna pull up in third. But, oh, just like that, Justin Wilson, once again, gonna find a strong push. Very interesting decision here. Justin Wilson looks like he dives down. Looked like he was almost trying to bait Steve Loving for a second, but Steve kind of held. Now they're gonna link back up, but Steve, very, very smart here. Steve is no slouch when it comes to these plate races either. Steve Loving came in second at Talladega. Having him up here at the front, he is a threat with 20 to go. And with the right pushes here, Mark Royce, Michael Gudger, Dustin Bally behind. Things could go his way. Justin Wilson, though, is linked up with Jacob Bradley on the outside. Just behind them, you got Dan Ott and Chris Lucky. Chris Lucky still hanging in there. Unfortunately, Richard Lucky is towards the back. He's currently sitting 20th. He did win our heat and just caught up in a couple of the two wrecks here, both of them. And he's still on the lead lap, just towards the back with some damage. Gonna keep an eye out and see how he does here as well. A lot of familiar faces here, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of familiar names, but the ones that are unfamiliar up here in the front are Mark Royce in that 44. Currently sitting in third, pushing around for the first positions here. He's up 10 positions overall tonight. And currently sitting in sixth, the 29, that outside line, Dan Ott. Currently showing him in fifth, up 16 positions. Very fantastic stuff for them so far. It will be interesting to see what the strategy is for some of these guys. Oh, Chris Lucky looks like he's gonna get shuffled out just a bit. It is 3 wide in the back here by Sean Johnson. Nick Seraph. Evan Hubchak's gonna drive up, almost sends Sean Johnson up into the wall. Mr. Moonpie almost finds himself dragging the wall once again. Just narrowly avoids disaster. And Chris Lucky pulls himself in front of Brandon Brush. All these guys trying to work their way back up to the front here. 15 to go this time by. And you know, all this jockeying for position, all these little moves, all these little bits, they all matter huge in the grand scheme of things. Right place, right time is one of the most key components of plate racing. I mean, you can be as strong as you want all day. You can have good strategy. Anything can happen in the blink of an eye when you're going 200 miles an hour. And if you end up turned, or someone ends up turned in front of you. Speaking of turned, I see a caution's just gone. I don't see a caution report. What in the hell world happened here? Jump to the back. See if we can get a big view. I did see it say Jay Bass went off track. Oh, the 45, yeah. Collects the 53. Chris Winslow. And that's exactly what I talked about before. The wall pop, when you're up in that wall. Anything can happen in that scenario. That is the third caution. That's going to bring us to about 12 to go by the time we're ready to form up here and head off for the green. I do not lie to you, ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that the live HUD that I used to do race control here did not deem this important enough for labeling it as a crash, but it did label it a caution, which is funny because it doesn't say it crashed. Anybody crashed at all. It just says people went off track. So very, very interesting wording used in the live timer. Just like this, we're seeing everybody use a little bit of decision making, a little bit of strategy here. Steve Loving is gonna start in that first position, as Justin Wilson. Richard Lucky is gonna come in, get some repairs done. Sam Stoner as well. Spoke to him. As we see everybody kind of setting up here, getting into position, it's still going to be Steve Loving on that inside line. Justin Wilson on that outside. Justin looking to get some, right some wrongs here today. We're going to be at 10 to go when we come to the green here. Justin Wilson, if you've been following, if you haven't, the past 3 races has had some unfortunate circumstance befall him where he ends up getting wrecked out, either in the middle or towards the end of a race, and ends up having to drop out. I didn't mean to curse you. Oh, Justin, don't blink, buddy. All right, I'm gonna stop talking about Justin Wilson because that felt like an omen. He's gonna do great. Anyway, should I have said that? I don't know I'm freaked out now. Steve Loving sitting here on the front. Restart's gonna be on him. NASCAR dives off. And we're gonna see him lurch. Gets a decent restart, but Justin Wilson does just as good. Jacob Bradley right to his rear immediately. Mark Royce falls a little behind. Michael Gudger helps pick up the pace. Chris Lucky sliding in. Dustin Bally looks like he's not quite sure what to do here. Looks like he's gonna remain with that outside line for now. You know he's gonna try to link up. I mean, you'd presume he's gonna try to link up with the 27 as they get closer to the front here. We're at 9 to go this time by. The feature race will be over shortly. You know it's about to get exciting, so if you're here now, don't go anywhere. This is about to get crazy, I'm sure. Nick Seraph up in the wall, dragging it a good bit. Looked like he couldn't quite get back off it. Bit of an issue there, but Steve Loving has a pretty strong lead right now. It's going to lead this lap as well. Justin Wilson, that outside line is not quite rallied. Dustin Bally is going to send it to the middle, sends Dan Ott up to the top. It does not have a great effect for getting Dustin Bally any closer, but it does weaken that outside line. But we're going to see Chris Lucky decide he's going to take the outside line here and make a big support for the 50 and the 58-85. Justin Wilson, that pulls Dustin Bally back up into the fray. Mark Royce still doing a fantastic job of pushing that 27, as well as Michael Gudger just behind. Michael, of course, going to be eyeing, trying to get himself a win here. Just because you're sitting third row back does not mean you are not seeing what the opportunity is for a win. Points matter, but wins matter more, right? Sean Johnson. He sends it 3 wide outside Johnny Rapp and Dan Ott. He's on the middle of those two. Johnny Rapp doesn't look like he wants any of that. He'd rather just settle in. Oh! Kenny Troughton, and he's gonna pin back. And the 5 gets taken with him. Oh man, that did not look pretty. We're gonna have to go back here, take a look at Kenny Troughton. Try to get a better look. How exactly we ended up here. This was not the accident I expected to happen. Look at the overhead. As we saw, everything went 3 wide there. Johnny Rapp's going to settle out back of the 32. And that's what does it right there. Clipped just behind by the 5. Catches Laura Wiseman. They pin Johnny Rapp's back to the back there. Looks like the 45 of Chris Winslow ate some too. And that is really, really unfortunate. Let's go on board here. Kenny Troughton as he goes around. Do the same with Robert Brobst. Just one of those things. Doesn't look like he even barely moves in cockpit. Just one of those situations, one of those racing deals. Really unfortunate there. This does make things pretty interesting as Justin Wilson was in front, so he's going to get to choose the line this time. We're going to have to see if he's going to choose that, well, I guess he doesn't choose, actually. He's just going to be on the inside. Forgot there's no choose in this. Ignore me. Let's see here. Go ahead and pull in the 5 of Robert Brobst. See if we can chat with Robert here for just a moment. Robert, right in the broadcast. You got me?
I hear you.
Hey, man. Well, 4 cautions so far tonight. I think I've seen you in at least 3 of them. How's things been going?
I woohooed a little early. I'm sorry.
Somehow, yeah, I do believe I've seen your 5 car either around or tagged just somewhere in 3 of these 4 cautions at the very least, and you're somehow still out here.
I might have called 2 of them.
Well, I mean...
2 in the heat race. That one, I don't know if Kenny drifted up or if I tagged him. I'm not sure.
Well, I will say it's kind of hard to tell on replay, so y'all are going to have to go back and take a look at that one.
Oh, I'm not that invested.
Well, I mean, you're coming up here. This is going to be the final laps on this, presumably, on this restart. You think you're going to be able to make up some ground here?
Probably not. I took quite a bit of damage in that incident there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it didn't look pretty.
I'm kind of just here at this point.
All right, well.
Kind of like a couple other people. We're just kind of here.
Hey, you know what? It's all fun, right? Just get out there, turn some laps. That's always a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. I have to thank Dustin for putting it on and dealing with us, and the stress of all the DMs and everything else that comes with these races.
All right, man. Well, it's about to go green. I'm gonna let you get back to it.
I've experienced it. Yeah, you get back to, I guess, calling whatever you get to see, because it's been a pretty boring race.
Well, it's about to get interesting, I'm sure, here.
All right.
Good luck to you. That was Robert Brobst. Justin Wilson, as we said. Look, Steve Loving trying to go. Oh, this is interesting. It looks like he's instead going to stick with the 64. It looked like he was trying to hang with Mark Royce, but Mark Royce just wasn't there for it. He's going to fall in line instead. Whoa! Nick Seraph way up top. He's going to save it. No, he doesn't. And that 32 machine is toasted. Wow. I will say I did not anticipate that. We're going to have to go take a look back here. Very quickly, things changed. As you can see, the 67 wall pops tries to stay out of it. Somehow, Sean Johnson, I guess, trying to get out of the checkup, moves up. It looked like the 67 did a pretty good job of getting out of the way, but because of how far he comes up, and he's going to collect a number of people. Robert Brobst in the 5, we're going to see him skirt just by. Man, that is heartbreaking. And it looks like Sean Johnson is not just jumped to pit, he is out. Nick Seraph coming down pit road. Benson Weaver also coming back down. Sam Stoner still sitting in the pits. Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley are going to start opposite each other. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to work this out. Chris Lucky edges himself out in front of Steve Loving in this. It's going to be a bit of an uphill battle. See if we can get Sean in here. Sean, right in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Hey, Rain.
Well, obviously, tough time there, especially. I mean, you were hanging on pretty good. A couple of times we saw you making pretty big moves, sending it to the middle 3 wide, and gaining some positions, and unfortunately, it looks like that last one's going to take you out. Talk us through it a little bit.
Yeah. I thought I had a run coming out of the corner on the 7, and then the 7 like slowly came down the track and then jerked down the track. It felt like, I guess, missing Nick, and I tried to go up to go around him, and Nick was still there. So
Yeah, the 67, he did he popped the wall. He did a pretty good job of keeping it up there, but just the angle you were coming up trying to avoid the checkup of the car in front of you, you just tangled with him right at the wrong time.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Atlanta as a racetrack, I don't think.
Well, I mean, I can't blame you. I mean, I can get it. We're definitely, you know, it's definitely a new track for a lot of people. I heard a lot of people say they hadn't actually raced this configuration or this new package with it yet. So I mean, that's not all that surprising. But I mean, we have a next week going Road America. I don't know, are you gonna end up racing Road America?
I'm not sure. Hopefully I can. That's a fun track.
Well, in a couple weeks after that will be Daytona. That'd be more back to your speed.
Yeah, a little better of a plate track at least.
Well, man, sorry that happened. You definitely were entertaining. We were watching you a lot throughout broadcast, so make sure and go back. We were seeing you do some pretty wild moves. Unfortunate the way it ends for you, but you had a strong showing all day, and I know we'll probably see some more out of you the rest of the season. So,
All right, thank you.
Sean Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, the 32, Mr. Moonpie. Take a quick chat with him. While we get ready, we're going to stay trained on this restart. Don't want to miss anything of this. We are in our second overtime. Pace car dives off. Justin Wilson, Jacob Bradley lining the front. Are they going to compete, or is Justin Wilson going to get a huge jump and gap Jacob Bradley? Jacob Bradley fall in line. Exactly what happened. Jacob Bradley's going to take that inside line, but much to their dismay, I would say Steve Loving and Dustin Bally have linked up on the outside. This was the pairing that we've been waiting to see pretty much all race. Be interesting to see if Michael Gudger decides to go with him. Chris Lucky decides he wants to try. Michael Gudger will go with them. And that is going to create a pretty strong 3-car tandem. We're going to have to see if it'll stick, though, because that 3-car inside line is a lot stronger. Looks like Michael Gudger saw the same. He got a bit of a run. He's going to run down, fall in line behind Chris Lucky here. Them 2 cars up top are still going pretty strong. 44, Mark Royce. Coming in hot. It looks like he's going to try to get in line. And the 64, oh, a little bit of a bump there. The 77. Things are getting wily and out of control. The 64 dives down. The 50. Wow, look at the spread on here. I'm sorry, was that the race win? Did something happen that I missed? I'm so confused. I thought we were only on the white flag. How did this happen? Well, we're gonna go back and watch this once more because I got a little bit confused here as the white flag waved. I thought we were coming to the white flag just now, not the checkered, but let's look at it again, ladies and gentlemen. And you look there, Justin Wilson crosses the line, strong with Jacob Bradley out the back. And here's where we started seeing things kind of change up a little bit. Steve Loving and Dustin Bally did not get as strong of a run. I don't know how in the world I miscounted the laps, but I did. That was the finish. I didn't call it like it was, but look at that. That's what happened. Everybody was jumping across. At least we saw it. Justin Wilson did take it home, followed by Jacob Bradley and Chris Lucky. Chris Lucky gets himself the top 3 in both the heat and the feature race. Michael Gudger nets himself a 4th, Mark Royce 5th, Steve Loving 6th, Dustin Bally 7th. But Justin Wilson, he has redeemed himself. Huge moment for him here. we're going to go ahead and start talking to some people, pulling Chris Lucky here, who finished third. See if we can chat with him. Chris, you got me?
Yeah, I got you, Rain.
Hey, man, well, third place, not bad after a third place in the heat. A little worse off than the way your brother ended up finishing, but it's really strong start here, really strong end as well to Atlanta. How you feeling after that?
Relief. I'm more relieved that it's over than anything else.
Yeah, I hear general sentiment that people didn't quite like Atlanta here today. And it definitely seemed like we were wondering if any more cautions were going to come out. You did manage to do a pretty amazing number, managing to maneuver yourself around. I mean, you weren't sniffing this top 5 a whole lot. You were just outside of it for a good portion, and then right at the end, you sneak your way up, get some great positioning, find yourself back in the right horses. How's it feel getting a back-to-back, podium here in this race?
Yeah, I'll take 2 podiums on the night, but I had a good couple of restarts there to get me up to where I was at, and then that last restart, I was just sleeping, and it just wasn't a good one. So I had a decision to make down the backstretch, whether to get up in front of Steve Loving, and I decided not to take it. So I was going to be happy with third at that point. I think Justin was working with Jacob, so I don't know if they're teammates or what. I'm still fresh to this league, but they worked really good together all night long. So hats off to them.
Absolutely, man. Well, nothing to to be I'd say to be sour about in this race for you. You did fantastic, and we're heading to Road America next week. How you feeling about heading back to the road course?
I'm happy. I love Road America. It's one of my favorite tracks, so I look to be somewhat competitive there, maybe top 5.
Well, that's fantastic, man. Well, congratulations on 2 podiums in a row, and hope to see what you can do next. Anybody you want to say thanks or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to my sponsor, my friends over at Buckeye Speed Podcast, Pork Chop, and Britt Van Meter. They're great guys. Give them a listen. Thank my brother for working with me there early in the night. Thank you, Rain, for doing the broadcast. Thanks, Dustin, for running the league.
All right. Well, thanks so much, man. And good luck to you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Chris Lucky. Podium for him here. Going to pull up the race results on top so we can take a look as we got the replay running behind. Going to go ahead and grab Jacob Bradley. Pull in Jacob Bradley and see if we can chat with him real quick. Give Justin Wilson final word on the night since he won the race. Jacob, it's Rain and Booth. You got me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, man, fantastic running all night. You're pretty much holding yourself up there in the front the whole time. It was interesting to see, how you got there on that restart. We were kind of debating whether you were going to fall in line, get in behind Justin Wilson. It looks like you did, and you're going to cruise yourself into a second. Talk us through that final restart.
Yeah, I knew if I could get behind Justin, we were going to have a really good shot at a 1-2 on the bottom. If not, we were just going to try and control the lanes, and he got a good jump. I was able to slide in right behind, and it just worked out right in our favor. Nobody on the outside could get a run. I was just really committed to pushing Justin all race. He's my teammate, so figured we should go for the 1-2.
Absolutely. We've seen some heartbreak out of it. We've seen Justin, unfortunately, I mean, he's definitely a very aggressive driver, as we've kind of seen, and he throws things in and gets some pretty impressive runs, but these past couple ones have not been fortunate for him, so it's got to feel pretty good, I imagine, for him to not only come back and actually get to finish the race, but to finish on in victory lane.
Definitely. He's an excellent race car driver. He's taught me a lot over the years, and glad that I could push him to a win tonight.
Well, Jacob, we're heading to Road America. God, that sounds horrible, actually. Road America next week. How you feeling heading into that?
Well, I'm going to be at Road to Pro, so you guys got an off week for me.
Oh, man.
And then I come back for Watkins Glen. Hopefully it goes better than the last backmarkers race there. But hopefully that'll be a good run for us. I really like Watkins when we end up going there, and it's kind of my best road course. It kind of drives like exactly how you want a stock car too. It's really fast paced.
Well, I mean, obviously, like I said, really impressive race from you here this evening. Anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to say before I let you get out of here?
Yeah, I want to thank Dustin and Jay for putting on the league. I want to thank everybody watching the broadcast, and I want to thank you for putting it on.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jacob Bradley, your silver here tonight. taking home second place, and we're going to go ahead and grab the winner, the long-deserved Justin Wilson. Finally get him in the booth. Justin, Rain and Broadcast, you got me?
Yeah, I got you, boss.
Well, Justin, I feel like this is a bit of a long time coming, to be honest with you. We've seen you competitive, we've seen you at the front, we've seen you qualify pole, but what we haven't seen is you get a strong finish. And not only did you get one this week, you got the win. How you feeling?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a rough season. I've been doing so good at heat races, and then when it comes to the physical race, I just simple mistakes on my own part. But it's good to come out here and finally put one all together, all around.
Well, you definitely had the right amount of support, I'd say. We were talking to Jacob Bradley, your teammate there, with Payday, giving you huge support, saying, he was happy to take it 1-2 the whole way. How important is it out there, especially on these plate tracks, for you to have somebody that you know is going to have your back?
Oh, I mean, you have to have it at the plate tracks in order to win. You really got to have somebody that's dedicated to help you push to the front. It's extremely hard to win a race by yourself at these types of tracks. So it's always good to have teammates. I know my other teammate was Johnny Rapp. He's back there somewhere. He didn't want to come join the fun.
Well, he netted himself a top 10. I'd say he did all right.
Yeah. No, it was a fun race. Good clean race all around. I mean, not too many yellows. A lot of hard racing, and definitely look forward to the next one.
Oh, we are heading to Road America next week. How you feel you're going to do there?
I generally do pretty good there. I know that's one of Johnny Rapp's favorite racetracks too. He's always a tough one to beat there, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm starting to get a feel for these things at the road courses, so should be pretty fun.
All right, is there anybody you want to thank? Anything you want to say before I let you get out of here and enjoy your win?
Oh man, thank you for putting the show on. Thank Road and Plate for allowing me to come run. My teammates Jacob and Johnny. It was fun racing there. Had some good laughs throughout the race, and the rest of the whole field, man. It was actually a good, fun, clean, hard fought race.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Your winner, Justin Wilson, as he takes home his first victory here this season, and he is going to also, be a strong contender for the rest of the season, I'd imagine. We've seen he has the opportunity the chance to, so it's not too surprising to think that that's possible. Do want to do our shout out as always. This week's big mover, the one who started further back, moved his way further to the front, Dan Ott, the 29, pulls himself up 10 positions to finish in 11th, just outside the top 10. Congrats to Dan. You are the big mover of the week. Fantastic run by you. Also want to shout out to Michael Gudger. He started strong and ended strong. Stayed up the front pretty much the entire race, nets himself a 4th just outside of that podium. I know that's going to sting just a little bit, but there's absolutely nothing to be ashamed about there. Fantastic stuff from Michael Gudger. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the broadcast. That is going to conclude our race here at the Road and Plate Series at Atlanta, week 4 of the Road and Plate Season 2 on iRacing. As always, you can follow Road and Plate on Facebook. Do you want to race in Road and Plate? Did you know you can? You absolutely can. All you got to do, go down in the description of this YouTube video, this YouTube live stream, YouTube VOD. If you're on Twitch, head on over to YouTube and go look at it, because I'm not adding a Discord banner over there. Maybe I'll make a command for it so if I remember. Head on over and make sure to look in the description. There will be the invite link. You can join the Road and Plate Series and come race alongside these guys. 23-person turnout this week. It's been about the same every week. That's a pretty great crowd. We'd love to have more. Also want to give a big thanks to the guys that put this thing on. Dustin Bawley, Jay Bass, I know Steve Loving has a hand. All these guys that put these things on, put in the work to make them happen. Big thanks to all the guys that show up every week. Guys like Sean Johnson, Benson Weaver, Chris Lucky, Johnny Rapp, Kenny Troughton, the Lucky Brothers, as they've been. I know this is Richard's first race, but we've seen Chris previously here. Evan Hubchak, Dan Ott. I mean, these guys, Chuck Labano, they're all so intrinsic. I can't name everybody. I just named the entire list, but everybody who races here, you're all fantastic. I try to shout you guys out as much as possible during these things because you all deserve a good bit of attention for what you guys are managing to do out here. So, but as always, if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop a like on the video or live stream that you're currently watching. If you're watching the VOD, make sure to comment down below who your favorite driver was or your favorite moments. If you're watching on Twitch, thanks so much. Make sure to drop a follow. If you're on YouTube, make sure to drop a subscribe. As always, it always helps out our channel. Make sure we can get a little better optimization, get seen by some more people. As always, I have been your broadcaster, Rain Braun, here on the Humanoid Rogue channel for the Road and Plate Stock Car Series on iRacing. As I say, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.